Nina, are you pregnant? Whose is it? The cold interrogation smashed through the screen, instantly freezing my blood. I looked at the pregnancy test report I had mistakenly sent to Ethan, my hands shaking so much that I could barely hold the phone. It was over. He and I were only in a contractual marriage, each taking what we needed. Now, I was pregnant with someone else's child. On the phone screen, the image of the ultrasound pregnancy report was particularly glaring. Pregnant for 6 weeks plus. Below were 2 messages from Ethan, concise yet carrying an overwhelming momentum like Mount Tai pressing down. Nina, are you pregnant? Whose is it? I stared at that name, my mind blank, my fingertips as cold as if just taken out of the freezer. Ethan, my contractual husband. A person who, apart from appearing on the marriage certificate, almost never showed up in my life. We had been married for a year, meeting no more than 5 times. He spent most of his time abroad expanding markets. We kept to ourselves, just waiting for the 2-year agreement to end, when I would take the money and leave, and he would regain his freedom. But now, I was pregnant. The child wasn't his. I had originally intended to send this image to my best friend for her advice, but in my daze, my hand slipped and I entered the chat dialogue that I had pinned but never used. It was too late to retract it. I frantically typed, trying to explain it was just a joke, a prank. But my fingers were stiff and unresponsive, making each word incredibly difficult to type. In those dozens of seconds of hesitation, Ethan's third message came in. Where are you? It wasn't a question, it was a command. I shuddered in fright, and the phone clattered to the ground. The screen cracked, like my crumbling heart at that moment. Trembling, I picked up the phone, his message was still lit on the screen. I didn't dare reply. Where could I go? In the hospital corridor, people came and went, the smell of disinfectant drilled into my nose, making me nauseous. I leaned against the wall, barely able to stand. What to do? According to the agreement, if I cheated during the marriage, not only would I get no money, but I would also have to pay him a huge penalty. That was a figure that could ruin me forever. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. I couldn't admit it. Absolutely not. I steadied myself, picked up the phone, and quickly typed, "Just kidding, it's a friend's image, sent by mistake." The message sent successfully. I stared intently at the screen, my heart pounding wildly in my chest. Would he believe it? 1 minute. 2 minutes. 10 minutes. The chat was deathly silent. This unknown wait was more tormenting than direct judgment. Holding a sliver of hope, perhaps he believed it, or perhaps he didn't care at all and was too lazy to reply. After all, our marriage was just a transaction. Just as I was about to put away the phone and leave this place of trouble, the screen suddenly lit up. It was still Ethan. Stay where you are, don't move. Those short 6 words were like a death warrant, instantly plunging me into an icy abyss. He knew. He knew everything. He was coming back. This realization made me shiver all over. I could imagine that man's thunderous rage. No, I couldn't sit and wait for doom. I grabbed my bag and fled in panic. I had to leave here, the farther the better. But as soon as I rushed out of the hospital door, a black Cullinan screeched to a precise stop in front of me with a piercing brake sound. The door opened, and a bodyguard in a black suit stepped out expressionlessly. "Miss Nina, Ethan sent us to pick you up." My legs instantly went weak. How did they find me? I looked around and realized that in several corners at the hospital entrance, there were men dressed similarly. It was a dragnet. I had nowhere to escape. I was invited into the car, the door slamming shut behind me, isolating everything outside. The atmosphere in the car was oppressively low. I was taken back to my and Ethan's marital home, the luxurious villa where I had lived alone for a year. In the living room, a middle-aged woman I had never seen was sitting upright on the sofa, dressed in an exquisite cheongsam, with an arrogant expression, looking at me as if I were a filthy object. "So you're Nina?" She spoke, her voice full of disdain. You've completely disgraced our G family. This was Ethan's mother, Victoria. I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my palms. Auntie, shut up. She sharply interrupted me. Who are you calling auntie? A woman who doesn't uphold marital fidelity, cheating outside, dares to call me that? Her words were like a poisoned knife, stabbing viciously into my heart. I didn't. I stubbornly raised my head, meeting her contemptuous gaze. Didn't? Victoria sneered, flinging a document at my face. See for yourself what this is. The documents scattered on the floor, the top one was prominently a copy of the pregnancy report I had just obtained. So, he had known all along. The moment I got the report, he knew. My body turned ice cold, all my hopes and struggles became a joke at this moment. Speak, whose child is it? Victoria looked down at me condescendingly. Name the adulterer, then go abort this bastard, and I might consider letting you lead the G family with some dignity. Abort the child? I instinctively protected my abdomen. No. This is my child. I won't abort him. I said each word clearly. Victoria's face darkened instantly. You dare defy me? This is my child, I have the right to decide his fate. Your child? She laughed as if hearing the biggest joke. Don't forget, you're still Ethan's wife. Pregnant with a bastard and wanting to give birth? Do you want everyone to laugh at our G family? At that moment, the villa's door was pushed open from outside. A powerful cold pressure instantly swept the entire living room. I stiffly turned my head. At the door, Ethan in a black trench coat, travel-worn, his handsome godlike face covered in frost. His deep eyes shot straight at me, that gaze colder than the Siberian chill. He was back. From abroad, rushing back overnight. Ethan was back. Behind him were two assistants, each silent as cicadas in winter, not daring to breathe. The temperature in the living room seemed to drop to freezing instantly. Ethan, perfect timing. As soon as Victoria saw him, she acted as if finding her backbone, pointing at me angrily. Look at this woman. She dares to be pregnant with someone else's child and wants to give birth. She's utterly lawless. Ethan's gaze never left me as he walked toward me step by step. His leather shoes on the polished marble floor made da sounds, each one like stepping on my heart. I was so tense I forgot to breathe, only able to watch him approach. He was tall, I needed to look up to see his face clearly. That face I had seen countless times in financial magazines was now inches away, yet stranger and more terrifying than ever. I'll ask you one more time. He finally spoke, his voice low and hoarse, with a hint of fatigue from the long flight, but more suppressed anger. Whose child is it? Oppressed by his powerful aura, I couldn't breathe, my lips moved a few times but no sound came out. What should I say? That I don't know? That I was drugged at a banquet, woke up in a hotel bed, alone? Would he believe it? A woman married for a year but rarely seeing her husband claims she was drugged and violated. It sounds more like a lame lie fabricated to escape blame. My silence, in Ethan's eyes, was undoubtedly admission. His gaze grew colder, like ice-tempered knives, slowly torturing me inch by inch. Not saying? He suddenly smiled, a smile without any warmth, only endless sarcasm and coldness. Fine, very good. He turned around and said to the bodyguards behind him, lock her in the room, without my permission, she's not to step out half a step. Yes, Ethan. The two bodyguards immediately stepped forward, one on each side, grabbing my arms. What are you doing? Let me go. I struggled desperately, but my strength before them was like a mayfly shaking a tree. Ethan! I screamed hoarsely at his back. You can't do this to me. We're just in a contractual marriage. You have no right to restrict my personal freedom. His steps paused, but he didn't turn back. Agreement? He snorted coldly. The agreement also states that during the marriage, you must behave yourself. Nina, you breached it first. With that, he didn't linger and went straight upstairs. I was forcibly dragged into the second-floor bedroom, the door slammed shut with a bang, followed by the sound of locking. I was imprisoned. I rushed to the door, pounding madly on it. "Let me out. Ethan! Let me out!" But no matter how I shouted, there was no response from outside. I slid weakly to the ground, tears finally bursting forth. Why did it turn out like this? It was clearly just a transaction where each took what they needed. Why had it evolved into this? Hugging my knees, I sat on the cold floor all night. The next day, the door was opened. It wasn't Ethan who entered, but a doctor in a white coat, followed by 2 nurses. I looked at them warily. "What are you doing?" The lead doctor adjusted his glasses and said expressionlessly, "Miss Nina, Ethan invited us to conduct an examination on you." Examination? An ominous premonition rose in my heart. I don't need an examination, I'm fine. I shrank to the bed corner, watching them guardedly. That's not up to you. After speaking, the doctor signaled the nurses behind him. The 2 nurses immediately came forward, forcibly holding me down. "Let me go." "What are you doing?" I screamed in terror, struggling desperately. The cold needle pierced my skin, and a liquid was injected into my vein. Soon, my consciousness began to blur, and my limbs became weak. Before completely losing consciousness, I saw Ethan standing at the door. He watched all this expressionlessly, his gaze indifferent like an outsider. I didn't know how long I had slept. When I woke again, I found myself lying on the bed, with an 4 needle in the back of my hand. The room was quiet, only the sound of liquid dripping in the 4 tube. I moved my body, feeling sore and weak all over. "Awake?" A cold voice sounded in the room. I turned my head and saw Ethan sitting on the sofa by the window, holding a cup of coffee, looking at me coldly. The sunset's afterglow streamed in through the window, gilding him in a golden halo, yet unable to warm the chill on him at all. "What did you do to me?" I asked hoarsely. "Gave you a full body check." He set down the coffee cup, stood up, walked to the bedside, and looked down at me. "Including a paternity test." My heart sank sharply. He actually. On what grounds? I tried to sit up excitedly but was pressed back by him. His hand like iron clamps, restraining my shoulders, making me unable to move. On what grounds? He leaned down, his handsome face enlarging before me, his warm breath on my face, but his words plunged me into ice. "On the grounds that I'm your husband. Nina, I'm giving you one last chance, tell me who that man is." His gaze was sharp as an eagle, as if seeing through all my disguises. I knew I couldn't hide it anymore. I closed my eyes, 2 clear tears sliding from the corners. "I don't know." "Don't know?" He increased the force on his hand, pinching me painfully. "I really don't know." I shook my head in pain, spilling out that unbearable night completely. That night was a celebration banquet for a partner company. As Ethan's wife, I had to attend. At the banquet, I only drank 1 glass of champagne and felt dizzy, my whole body hot. I excused myself to the restroom but was supported in the corridor, then completely lost consciousness. When I woke, it was daylight. I lay in an unfamiliar hotel room, sore all over, alone beside me. I didn't even know who that man was or what he looked like. Like a broken doll, I curled up in the quilt, crying the entire morning. Then, I reported to the police. But the hotel's surveillance happened to be broken that night. I didn't even have a suspect. This incident became an unhealable wound in my heart. I didn't dare tell anyone, only bearing it silently myself. Until a month later, when my period was late, I went to the hospital and found out I was pregnant. I finished speaking, the room was deathly silent. Ethan didn't speak, just quietly looking at me. I couldn't see his expression clearly or guess what he was thinking. After a long time, he finally released me and straightened up. "Well fabricated." He coldly spat out 4 words, his tone full of sarcasm. "Unfortunately, I don't believe a single word." "I didn't fabricate a story," I rebutted excitedly, tears falling uncontrollably. What I said is true. I reported to the police, but they said the surveillance was broken, nothing could be found. Where's the police report? Ethan asked expressionlessly. I was stunned. At the time, the police said there was no evidence, couldn't file a case, just made a simple record. Disheartened, I just wanted to escape that humiliating place quickly, never thinking about getting a police record. No. I hung my head weakly. Heh. Ethan let out an ambiguous cold laugh. Nina, your acting skills are getting better and better. He turned to the table, picked up a document, and threw it at me. Look, the truth you want. Trembling, I picked up the document. It was a DNA paternity test report. I flipped to the last page. The conclusion clearly stated, excluding Mr. Ethan as the biological father of the fetus. Although I knew this would be the result, seeing it with my own eyes still felt like an invisible hand gripping my heart tightly, painful to the point of breathlessness. Now, what else do you have to say? Ethan's voice was like judgment from hell. What could I say? Black and white, ironclad evidence. I was speechless. I opened my mouth, but it felt like cotton was stuffed in my throat, not a word came out. Giving you two choices. Ethan announced without emotion. 1. Go to the hospital, abort the child, then sign this divorce agreement. I'll give you a sum of money to ensure your lifetime comfort. He threw another document onto my bed. It was the divorce agreement. 2. He paused, his gaze turning sinister. Keep the child, then I'll make you and your adulterer ruined and doomed forever. My body trembled uncontrollably. He was forcing me, using the child I cared most about to make me submit. Why? I raised my head, my red eyes staring fixedly at him. Ethan, we're just in a contractual marriage. Whether I have a child or whose it is has nothing to do with you. Why must you force me like this? Why? He laughed as if hearing something amusing, his mouth curling into a cruel arc. Because you're Mrs. Nina. As long as you're Mrs. Nina for a day, you can't cuckold me, let alone give birth to someone else's bastard. This is my bottom line. His bottom line? Our marriage was just a tool for him to deal with elders, a transaction for me to exchange for money. Where was there any emotion in it? Now, he talks to me about bottom lines. How ridiculous. What if I choose neither? I wiped my tears, stubbornly meeting his gaze. Ethan's eyes cooled instantly. You have no choice. With that, he no longer looked at me and turned to leave the room. The door locked again. Staring at the divorce papers on the bed and that cold, clinical report, my heart felt utterly barren. I knew Ethan meant what he said, and he meant to see it through. He had the ability to plunge me and my child into endless hell. But to make me kill my own child. I couldn't do it. Trembling, I stroked my abdomen. It was still flat, but I could feel a small life quietly gestating. This was my child, kin connected by blood. How could I? Tears blurred my vision again. For the next 2 days, I was completely under house arrest. Meals were delivered 3 times a day, but apart from the maid delivering food, I saw no one. My phone was taken away, and all things in the room that could contact the outside were cleared. Like a bird in a cage, I couldn't fly. I didn't know what Ethan wanted. This unknown fear was more tormenting than any torture. On the evening of the 3rd day, the door finally opened. It wasn't Ethan, but his mother, Victoria. She still had that superior demeanor, followed by 2 bodyguards. Figured it out? She sat on the chair by my bed, appraising me with scrutinizing eyes. I didn't speak, just looked at her coldly. Seemed still unwilling to compromise. Victoria wasn't angry, leisurely taking out a tablet from her bag, opening a video, and handing it to me. Look, this took me a lot of effort to get. In the video, it was a rundown residential building. My parents were blocked at the door by several menacing men. The leader with yellow hair was waving an IOU in front of my parents. 500,000, must pay today. Otherwise, use your daughter to pay the debt. My parents' faces were pale with fear, continuously bowing and begging. We really have no money. Please give us a few more days, Grace? I've already given you a month. The yellow-haired one kicked the door. Tell you, if you don't pay, I'll sell your precious daughter to Southeast Asia. The video stopped abruptly here. My blood froze all over. What did you do to my parents? I gripped the tablet, my fingertips white from force. I didn't do anything. Victoria elegantly picked up the tea brought by the maid, gently blew on it. I just helped you pay off the debt your gambling addict brother owed. My worthless brother, spoiled by parents since childhood, uneducated and idle, addicted to gambling. Over the years, who knows how much debt he owed outside, my parents used their pension to scrape together and pay for him. When I married, the G family gave a substantial bride price, almost all taken by him to fill the holes. I thought he would stop, but unexpectedly. Why did you do this? I stared fixedly at Victoria. Helping you solve trouble, isn't it good? Victoria set down the teacup, chuckled lightly. Nina, I'm pointing you a bright path. As long as you obey, abort the child, divorce Ethan, your parents will be fine, and I can give you another sum, enough for your family to live comfortably forever. But if you remain obstinate, she changed tone, her gaze turning ruthless. Then I can't guarantee that next time, someone will help your precious brother pay the debt. What the debt collectors will do then, who knows? This was a threat. A naked threat. She used my family to force me. Despicable. I trembled with anger, smashing the tablet hard on the ground. Victoria was unmoved, just looking at me coldly. I'll give you 1 day to think. At this time tomorrow, I hope to hear the answer I want. With that, she stood up and left without looking back. I collapsed on the bed, feeling all strength drained. On one side my child, on the other my family. They forced me into a dead end. I was sleepless all night. Outside the window, the sky turned from dark to light, then light to dark. Like a puppet without a soul, I sat dazed on the bed, my mind in chaos. Victoria's words echoed like a curse in my ears. I knew she wasn't joking. With the G family's power, ruining my family was just a finger's move. I couldn't gamble with my family. But my child. I stroked my abdomen, my heart like being cut. Baby, what should mommy do? Just as I sank into despair, the door was suddenly knocked. I thought it was Victoria, my heart tightening sharply. The door opened, but it was an unexpected person. Miss Nina. The person wore a white dress, long hair to the waist, delicate light makeup on the face, brows and eyes with a gentle watery temperament. It was Bella. Ethan's childhood sweetheart, also the Bella he held in his heart. I had seen her photo in a financial magazine interview. She was a promising young pianist. It was said that Ethan agreed to the contractual marriage with me to cope with family pressure to marry, waiting for Bella to return from overseas studies. Now, she was back. And I, this fake Mrs. Nina, should exit. How come you're here? I looked at her warily, my voice hoarse. I heard you were ill, so I came to see you. Bella sat by my bed, her face with just the right concern. Ethan is really something. Between husband and wife, what can't be said nicely, must lock you up. Her tone was intimate and natural, as if she was the hostess here. Between us, nothing good to say. I turned my face away, not wanting to see her hypocritical face. How could that be? Bella seemed not to hear the alienation in my words, continuing on her own. Miss Nina, actually I came today to apologize to you. Apologize? I looked at her puzzled. If not for me, you and Ethan wouldn't have come to this. Bella lowered her eyes, showing a guilty expression. When Ethan told me he needed someone for a contractual marriage, I shouldn't have agreed. I thought it was just 2 years, didn't expect this to happen. She paused, raised her head, looking at me sincerely. Miss Nina, I know you're pregnant, and Ethan is forcing you to abort. Rest assured, I'll persuade him. The child is innocent, no matter whose it is, it's a life. Her words moved me somewhat. Could she really be so kind? However, Bella changed tone. You know Ethan's temper, once decided, hard to change. Especially in this matter, he feels you betrayed him, hurt his pride. I didn't betray him. I rebutted excitedly. I know, I believe you. Bella patted my hand soothingly. But Ethan doesn't believe. Men care about face, especially a favored son like Ethan. Pregnant with another's child and wanting to give birth, how does that leave him? Miss Nina, listen to my advice. She said earnestly. You're still young, long road ahead. This child comes at the wrong time, even if you insist on birth, born without a father, it's a burden for you and him. Better, treat it as a dream. Dream over, everything can start anew. I'll make Ethan compensate you enough, ensure your lifetime comfort. Take the money, go anywhere you want, start a new life, isn't that good? Her words were like sugar-coated poison, gently wrapping the cruelest core. She wanted me to give up my child, then make way for her and Ethan. Looking at her gentle beautiful face, I felt nauseous. Finished? I said coldly. If finished, please leave. Bella's face stiffened, but quickly recovered her gentle look. Nina, don't be ungrateful. Her voice carried a subtle coldness. I'm helping you. Do you think you can really contend with the G family? I came today with Ethan's knowledge. He asked me to tell you his patience is limited. If you remain obstinate, don't blame him for not considering old feelings. Old feelings? Between him and me, where was there any affection? Get out. I grabbed the pillow on the bed and hurled it at her. Bella was startled, quickly standing and dodging awkwardly. You're simply unreasonable. The gentleness on her face vanished, replaced by anger and venom. She no longer pretended, revealing her true face. Nina, I tell you, the position of Mrs. Nina can only be mine. That bastard in your belly, don't even think of giving birth. With that, she adjusted her skirt, restored her noble elegant demeanor, and turned to leave. Watching her departing back, I felt ice-cold all over. So, this was her true face. The so-called kind advice was just to make me withdraw voluntarily. I was too naive, actually thinking for a moment she would help me. I couldn't wait for doom anymore. I must find a way to leave here. For my child, and for myself. I began to observe the room carefully. Windows sealed with iron bars, guards outside the door. Escaping from here was almost impossible. Unless someone could help me. I turned my gaze to the young maid who delivered meals daily. Her name was Lana, looked honest, each time seeing me, her eyes carried sympathy. Perhaps she could be my breakthrough. I decided to gamble. In the evening, Lana came to deliver food as usual. I called her as she was leaving. Lana. She turned, looking at me nervously. Miss Nina, what do you need? Don't be afraid, I just want to chat. I tried to make my voice sound gentle. Being here alone is too stuffy. Lana hesitated, but nodded. From her intermittent words, I pieced together some information. Since returning, Ethan had been staying at the company, not coming back. The villa inside and out was staffed with his people, monitoring me 24/7 without blind spots. Victoria and Bella came every few days to visit me, named visit, actually to pressure me. Lana, I looked at her, mustering courage. Can you help me? Lana's face changed instantly, waving hands. Miss Nina, I dare not. Ethan would kill me. I won't let you help for nothing. I removed a bracelet from my wrist and stuffed it into her hand. This was given by my mom when I married, my only memento. This bracelet isn't valuable, but it's my token. Once I'm out, I'll give you a large sum, enough for your lifetime comfort. Lana looked at the bracelet, her eyes wavering. I just want you to deliver a message outside. I lowered my voice. Help me contact someone, tell her I'm here, let her rescue me. I wrote my best friend Amber's phone number on a note, stuffed it with the bracelet to Lana. Please, Lana. I grabbed her hand, tears flowing. I can't lose this child, he's my only kin. My tears seemed to touch Lana. She looked at me, then the bracelet, finally bit her lip and put away the note and bracelet. Miss Nina, rest assured, I'll try. After seeing Lana off, I entered a long wait. I didn't know if Lana would betray me, or if Amber could rescue me after getting the message. All I could do was pray. Meanwhile, in the top office of G Group, Ethan sat behind the desk, gloomily listening to the assistant's report. Ethan, it's clear now. That night's banquet was hosted by Charles of Hong Yuan Group. The glass Miss Nina drank indeed had something added. Ethan's eyes darkened. Who did it? It was Charles's son, Ryan. The assistant answered cautiously. He coveted Miss Nina's beauty, but he was knocked out later. When he woke, Miss Nina was gone from the room. Knocked out? Ethan's brows furrowed tighter. By whom? Hotel surveillance was broken, can't find out. The assistant paused, added, but we found you were also at that hotel that night. Ethan's pupils contracted sharply. Memories of that night surged in. He was also drugged. He only remembered bursting into a room with a woman inside. That woman had the same fragrance as his wife Nina. He lost control. When he woke the next day, beside him was empty. He thought it was just an absurd wet dream. Could it be? A crazy thought flashed in his mind. Impossible. He immediately cut off the thought. Nina admitted herself she didn't know who the man was. And the DNA report showed the child wasn't his. Continue investigating. Ethan's voice was ice cold. Get all the hotel check-in records that night. I want to know who else entered that room that evening. Yes, Ethan. After the assistant left, Ethan irritably tugged his tie. He walked to the floor-to-ceiling window, looking at the bustling traffic below, but his heart was in chaos. He didn't know why he was so angry. Because of Nina's betrayal? Or that solid green hat? Perhaps both. But more was an inexplicable irritability and loss of control. He took out his phone, opened the album. Inside was only one photo. Nina's sleeping face. Shortly after marriage, he came back late one night for files, saw her asleep on the sofa, holding a parenting book. Under the light, her sleeping face was serene and beautiful, like an innocent angel. Impulsively, he took that photo. He stared at the woman in it, eyes complex. Nina, what else are you hiding from me? At that moment, his phone rang. It was Victoria. Ethan, that woman still won't compromise. Victoria's voice was full of anger. Tomorrow I'll arrange doctors to force her surgery. No need. Ethan coldly interrupted her. Her matters, I have my own measure. You don't need to interfere anymore. With that, he hung up and blacklisted Victoria's number. He leaned on the window, lit a cigarette. In the swirling smoke, his eyes were obscure. Before finding all the truth, he wouldn't let anyone touch Nina or the child in her belly. Lana didn't disappoint me. The next afternoon, there was sudden commotion outside the villa. I lay on the window, seeing a flashy red Ferrari blocking the villa gate. Amber, in leather jacket and pants, stepping on 10 centimeters heels, was pointing at the door guards cursing. What are you? Dare block me? Do you know who I am? Hand over Nina. Or I'll demolish this damn door today. Amber was my best friend, a fearless rich second generation. Seeing her, my suspended heart finally relaxed halfway. The bodyguards obviously hadn't seen such arrogance, momentarily at a loss. Soon, the butler arrived. Miss, this is private residence, please leave immediately. Private residence? Amber sneered. My friend is illegally imprisoned here by you, and you ask me to leave? Tell you, if I don't see Nina today, no one leaves. Saying that, she took out her phone, pretending to call police. The butler's face changed, quickly went in to report. Soon, I was brought to the downstairs living room. Nina. Amber rushed over as soon as she saw me, looking me up and down. They didn't do anything to you, right? I shook my head, but my eyes reddened. Good, you're fine. Amber patted my back, then turned, looking coldly at the butler. Now, can I take my friend away? The butler showed difficulty. Miss Amber, without Ethan's order, we can't let Miss Nina leave. Ethan? Amber scoffed. What is he? Imprisonment is illegal, understand? Want me to have my lawyer talk to you? The butler was rendered speechless by her. At that moment, Ethan's call came. The butler respectfully answered, listening to the instructions, his face growing paler. After hanging, he said to Amber, Miss Amber, Ethan says you can take Miss Nina away. But... He paused, handing a document to me. It was the divorce agreement. Ethan says, as long as Miss Nina signs this, from now on no ties with the G family. Looking at the agreement, my heart had indescribable feelings. In the end, he chose this way to end our absurd marriage. Fine. This way, I'm free. I picked up the pen, without hesitation, signed my name. Nina. From now on, no relation with Ethan. Let's go. I pulled Amber, left without looking back this cage that imprisoned me for nearly a week. The outside sunlight was dazzling. I squinted, feeling reborn. Nina, you really signed? In the car, Amber looked at me worriedly. Signed. I leaned on the seat back, watching the rapidly receding scenery, calm tone. This is good, he and I were never from the same world. The child, I'll give birth. I stroked my abdomen, eyes firm. He's my child, I'll raise him alone. Seeing my mind made up, Amber didn't advise more, just sighed. Fine, as long as you decided. What plans for the future? I want to leave here. I said. Go to a place where no one knows me, start over. Good, I'll arrange. I thought my entanglements with Ethan ended here. But I didn't expect this was just the beginning. Under Amber's arrangement, I moved into a high-end apartment. Security tight, isolating all disturbances. I changed my phone number, cut all past contacts, prepared to nurture the fetus peacefully. But peaceful days lasted less than a month. That day, I was reading a parenting book at home when the doorbell rang. Thinking it was Amber, I opened without thinking. At the door was someone I never dreamed of. Ethan. He was thinner than last meeting, eyes with red bloodshots, looking tired. Seeing me, complex eyes, opened mouth, seemed to want to say something. But I slammed the door shut. I didn't want to see him anymore. Outside, Ethan got the door shut in his face, looking ugly. His assistant behind whispered, Ethan, should we? No need. Ethan raised hand, stopped him. He stood at the door, silent long, then raised hand, rang the bell again. I ignored. He kept pressing. Stubborn like a child. Annoyed by his noise, I finally couldn't bear, opened the door, roared at him, Ethan. What do you want? We're divorced. I didn't agree. He looked at me, word by word. What? I was stunned. That divorce agreement, I didn't sign. He took out the signed agreement from his bosom, tore it to shreds before me. So, Nina, you're still my wife. I was dumbfounded by his actions. You're crazy? I'm not crazy. He stepped forward, forcing me to the wall corner, hands on either side of my ears, firmly imprisoning me in his arms. Nina, he lowered his head, hot breath on my ear, voice low and hoarse. Tell me, was the man that night me? What did you say? Ethan's words shocked me blank, unable to think. The man that night, was him? How possible? Didn't he say the DNA report showed the child wasn't his? Look into my eyes. Ethan pinched my chin, forcing me to meet his gaze. His eyes deep as sea, surging with emotions I couldn't understand, regret, struggle, and a hint of expectation. Tell me, Nina. His voice had a subtle tremble. That night, did you see the man's face clearly? Looked up by him, I was flustered, subconsciously turned away. I didn't. I saw nothing clearly, that night's memory was a nightmare for me. I just wanted to forget it completely, never mention again. Is that so? Ethan's eyes dimmed, released me. He stepped back, distancing, face restoring previous coldness. In that case, let's talk about the child. He returned to that superior Ethan, as if the emotional man earlier was my illusion. I must give birth to the child. I spoke before him, resolute. Don't think of forcing me again. I didn't say to force you. Ethan said unexpectedly. You can give birth to him. I was stunned, somewhat disbelieving my ears. He changed? But, he turned. The child must surname G. He will be the G family's eldest grandson, recorded under my name. I instantly understood. He didn't change, just changed method. Not letting me abort, wanting to raise this child as his own. To block gossip? Or cope with family? Whatever, it was an insult to me. Dream on. I trembled with anger. My child, why surname G? Why be your son? Because I'm your husband. Ethan's tone brooked no argument. Nina, this is my biggest concession. Otherwise, wait to collect his corpse. Threat again. He always forced me this way. Ethan, you bastard. I couldn't control my emotions anymore, grabbed the water cup on the table, splashed at him. He didn't dodge. Cold water slid down his handsome cheeks, wetting his expensive shirt. But he seemed not to feel, just staring at me, eyes with pain I couldn't understand. Nina, don't be like this. He said hoarsely. This was the first time he called my name so gently. Intimate enough to make me feel chilled. Get out. Get out. I pointed at the door, hysterically roaring. Ethan didn't move, just quietly looking at me. We two confronted. One angry, one silent. After long, he sighed, turned and left. Watching his lonely back, my heart had no satisfaction, only endless fatigue. Why wouldn't he let me go? The next few days, Ethan didn't appear. I thought he finally gave up. But I didn't expect he just changed to a more gentle way. Early next day, a team knocked on my door. Leading was a professional-looking nutritionist, followed by chef, bodyguards, 2 maids. Miss Nina, Ethan sent us to care for your daily life and diet. The nutritionist said respectfully. Before I reacted, they filed in, each to their duties. Kitchen soon had clanging sounds, 2 maids started cleaning, bodyguards guarded the door. I was bewildered by this setup. Get out. I don't need. Miss Nina, this is Ethan's order. Nutritionist still businesslike. Our task is to ensure you and the child's health in your belly. I then understood Ethan was playing curve to save the country with me. Not forcing anymore, changed to infiltrating my life this way. Angrily I called Amber. This Ethan, is he sick? What does he want? What else? Amber laughed gloatingly on the phone. Chasing wife to crematorium. Chase what wife? We're long over. But didn't you say he didn't sign the divorce? Amber pointed sharply. So legally, you're still married. Him caring for pregnant wife is rightful. I was choked speechless by her. Nina, have you thought? Amber's tone suddenly serious. What if the man that night was really him? My heart skipped a beat. Impossible. I denied immediately. The DNA report is out. Is the report necessarily real? Amber countered. With G family's ability, faking a report is easy. Why would he do that? I puzzled. How would I know? Amber said. Maybe angry from shame, or jealous? Jealous? This word on Ethan sounded discordant. Hung up, my heart was messed. Amber's words like a pebble thrown into my calm heart lake, rippling circles. If the man that night was really Ethan, then what were all the things he did to me before, words said? What did he take me for? A toy to humiliate and discard at will? This realization made me feel bone-chilling cold. I couldn't accept this possibility. If it was really Ethan, all his previous humiliations and forcings became a huge joke. On what grounds? On what grounds after hurting me, appear before me as if nothing, trying to compensate this way? I won't forgive him. Absolutely not. I started resisting in my way. Nutritionist's meals, I didn't eat. Maids cleaned room, I deliberately messed. Bodyguards at door, I tried ways to run out. Though caught back each time, I enjoyed it. I wanted him to know I'm not a puppet he can control. My resistance soon reached Ethan's ears. That evening, he came again. At that time I was on hunger strike protest, hungry and dizzy lying on sofa. As he entered, saw the untouched food on table, face darkened instantly. Why not eat? He walked before me, voice suppressing anger. I turned my head away, ignored him. Nina. He emphasized. Are you sulking with me? Do you know this will hurt the child? Again the child. Besides the child, couldn't he say something else? My child, none of your business. I retorted coldly. He's your child, also mine. He suddenly roared heedlessly. After roaring, he was stunned himself. The room fell into dead silence. I slowly turned, looking at him, word by word. What did you say just now? Ethan's Adam's apple rolled, eyes dodging. Nothing. He shifted gaze, tone stiffly changed topic. Eat. Ethan. I sat up, staring fixedly. Speak clearly, what did that sentence mean? Forced back by me, finally irritably tugged Tai. No meaning. Is it? I sneered, picked a document from sofa, flung at his face. That was another DNA report. I asked Amber to secretly take Ethan's hair, did with my baby's. Then explain what this is. Ethan's body stiffened sharply. He slowly lowered head, picked up the report. When he saw the conclusion on the last page, pupils contracted suddenly. Based on DNA analysis, supports Ethan as the biological father of the tested fetus. Ironclad. He couldn't deny any more. Why? Looking at him, tears slid uncontrollably. Ethan, why lie to me? Why use a fake report to humiliate me? Force me to abort our child? Do you know how I got through that time? You locked me up, let your mother humiliate me, let your Bella force me to abdicate. What did you take me for? A beck-and-call toy? I questioned hoarsely, venting all grievances and pain. Ethan just stood, letting my tears and accusations drown him. His face drained of color, only pale white left. Nina, he opened mouth, wanted to say, but throat blocked, no sound. Don't call me that. I find it dirty. I wiped tears harshly, took another document from under coffee table. New divorce agreement. Ethan, let's divorce. I pushed the agreement to him, tone eerily calm. This time, I want nothing. I just want you and your family never appear before me and my child again. I'll leave with nothing. These 4 words like a heavy hammer smashed Ethan's heart. Looking at my resolute face, his heart ached. He knew he messed up. He lost his Nina. I won't divorce. Ethan's voice extremely hoarse, looking at me, eyes with thick pain and regret. Nina, sorry, I know I was wrong. He wanted to pull my hand, dodged by me disgustedly. Don't touch me. Looking at him, eyes ice cold. Ethan, saying this now, don't you think it's too late? Late? He bitter smiled. Yes, too late. He stepped back, leaned on wall, whole person looking decadent and helpless, no longer the superior look of past. Nina, listen to my explanation. I don't want to. I interrupted. I don't want to hear anything about you. Sign, then disappear from my world completely. I won't sign. He suddenly agitated, stepped forward, tore the divorce agreement on table to shreds. I said, no divorce. Paper scraps flew, like a despair snow. Nina, don't think of leaving me. He grabbed my shoulders, force like crushing me. This lifetime, you can only be my woman. His eyes scarlet, full of crazy possessiveness. I was scared by his look. You're crazy. I struggled desperately. Let go. I am crazy. He growled low. From the moment I knew you were pregnant, I went crazy. I'm jealous of the man who got you pregnant. I want to kill him. Holding that fake DNA report, questioning you while praying in heart, praying it was all fake, praying the child in your belly was mine. But you? You told me yourself you don't know who the man was. How could I believe you? I could only use the stupidest way, bind you by my side. I thought, as long as I lock you up, you'd be mine forever. But I was wrong, outrageously wrong. He closed eyes painfully, 2 hot tears slid from corners. Nina, I love you. He said. From the first time I saw you at the banquet, I fell in love. I didn't dare tell you, afraid to scare you. I could only use this lame contractual marriage to keep you by side. I thought we had 2 years to slowly cultivate feelings. But I didn't expect this to happen. His confession came too late. If when I loved him, hearing this, I'd be moved to tears. But now, my heart was dead. When he humiliated me with the fake report, when he imprisoned me, forced abortion, it died. Finished? I looked expressionless. If finished, please leave. My indifference like a knife stabbed his heart. Nina, he looked despairingly. Really, not giving me any chance? Chance? I laughed like hearing huge joke. Ethan, you ask me for chance? Did you give me chance back then? When your mother threatened me with my family's lives, where were you? When Bella came before me, arrogantly making me give her position, where were you? When you knew the child was yours, but watched me in pain and despair, where were you? Each question like heavy hammer smashing his heart, leaving him unable to refute. He could only repeat, sorry, sorry. I don't need your sorry. I pushed him away, walked to door, opened it. Get out. This was the second time I said this to him. Ethan was driven out soullessly. He stood at door, looking at closed door, long not leaving. Amber came sometime, leaned on car, arms crossed, coolly looking at him. Ethan, now no regret? Ethan ignored her, just stubbornly looking at that door. I advise you to save it. Amber said. I know Nina's temper, once decided, 10 oxen can't pull back. You hurt her so deep, she won't forgive you this lifetime. Amber's words like last straw, crushed Ethan. He finally couldn't hold, slid down the wall weakly to sit on ground. A man commanding in business, omnipotent, now like an abandoned child, wretched and pitiful. But who to blame? All self-inflicted. I thought driving Ethan away would restore peace. But I didn't expect trouble just starting. Next day, Victoria came. No longer superior, face with ingratiating smile, carrying bags of supplements. Nina, before Mom was wrong, Mom apologizes. She held my hand, lovingly looking. Mom was confused, said those bastard words, don't take to heart. I coldly withdrew hand, Mrs. Victoria, I think we're not that close. Victoria's face stiffened, but quickly smiled again. Look at you, child, still angry with Mom. She put supplements on table. These are for your nourishment. Now pregnant with our G family's eldest grandson, must nurture well. My child's surname's Wen. I corrected. Surname Wen? Victoria frowned. How can that be? He's our G family's only grandson, must surname G. Then afraid to disappoint you. I said lightly. I've decided, when born, will surname with me. You. Victoria's anger rose, but thinking of Ethan's warning, suppressed it. Nina, listen to Mom, don't quarrel with Ethan. Couples argue at bed head, reconcile at tail, no overnight grudges. We're divorced. But didn't sign. Victoria anxious. As long as you nod, tomorrow I'll have you remarry. Looking at her previous arrogance now obsequious face, I felt nauseous. She forced divorce before, now begs remarriage. In her eyes, what am I? A manipulable breeding tool? Mrs. Victoria, please go. I gave eviction order. I'm tired, want rest. Victoria wanted to say more, but I shut her out. Drove away Victoria, Bella came again. No longer gentle kind, directly tore face. Nina, don't be smug. She stood before me, venomous eyes. You think pregnant with Ethan's child can secure Mrs. Nina position? Tell you, impossible. Ethan loves me. Marrying you was expedient. If not for your tricks getting pregnant, the one by his side now should be me. Looking at her furious look, I suddenly found it funny. Miss Bella, did you mistake something? I leisurely sipped water. The one using tricks seems not me? I didn't drug Ethan, climb his bed. Bella's face instantly pale. You, how do you know? If you don't want known, don't do. I set down cup, looked cold. That night at banquet, the one drugging Ethan was you, right? You wanted to cook raw rice to Dunn, unexpectedly, mistakenly fulfilled me. Bella, now very regretful? Very jealous? My words like sharp knife pierced her disguise, leaving her nowhere to hide. Nonsense! She screamed. Not me. I didn't. Whether you know. I didn't want more nonsense. Get out, don't let me see you again. Bella left soullessly. Looking out window, my heart peaceful. All who hurt me got their due. And I was about to start my new life. A month later, I left this city that scarred me. At plane takeoff, I received Amber's message. She said Ethan used Thunder means, acquired Bella's father's company, by family bankrupt. Bella couldn't accept, went crazy. And Victoria, because of this, completely fell out with Ethan, sent by him to overseas sanatorium. As for Ethan, he resigned all G Group positions, started searching the world for me. Looking at phone, silent long, then turned off. Ethan, goodbye. No, never see again. My future won't have you. I'll take our child, live well in a sunny place.